What's up, YouTube? This is Rich, the Side-Eye Stitcher. I'm here for my weekly update. So when this goes live, it'll be Wednesday. It's been a busy week. I actually got some stitching done last week, which is exciting. We'll get into that in a second. There was not a lot of progress, but I had the opportunity to stitch, which is exciting. I've had a couple other projects that I've been working on, which I'll show you. And then, yeah, we can go from there. Let's just get into it. So the cross stitching that I've been working on is I'm still trying to power through this wolf. It's a lot of fun and it's not difficult. It's just there's a lot of stitches and it's just taking time. One of the beautiful things about cross stitch that I enjoy, which is why I do it mostly, is I leave it in this tin on my desk right here, and I have a working thread that's out that I'll sit down when I have a minute and I'll do a thread and I'll follow the thread down, and then I might have to get up and go do something else. It's just how my time works. I don't usually have time to sit down and spend like an hour powering through it. And at night, sometimes I'll sit and I'll watch some Netflix and I'll power through a couple strands of that. But it's starting to see some progress. It actually is starting to look like a wolf, which is exciting. I just realized I've got a weird knot on the back. I don't know how that happened, but the back is only for me to see, so we'll keep it at that. I think that's looking really good. That is it for cross stitch for this week. I've just been working on that. The gnome is still up on my design board, but I just haven't had the motivation to pick it up. I did start something new this week. There was a short that I posted on YouTube, I want to say last week, when I was at the Road to VA, the QuiltCon convention 2 or 3 weeks ago. I picked up, that's a Sashiko Sampler. It's a full size. It's a full size thing. I'm only halfway done. Well, I'm halfway there. It takes time. It's nice. It's hand stitched. And it takes a lot of focus to try and get the stitches to be as close together, like as close to the same size and spacing. And obviously I've got some mistakes, but this is my first time doing this. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy the color that I've picked out. It pops really well against the dark blue background. It's a nice size. I am trying to figure out if I were to pick up a handful more of these samplers and do them, if I could put these together into a quilt. But really, like, it's essentially quilting, hand quilting as I go. But I don't really want to do that through backing and batting and all of that with a full-size quilt. So this I'm just chalking up as practice. And then my vision for how this is going to go might expand into one of the next projects that I'll be pulling up from down here on the stitching, because I really like how this is turning out, and I really like the patterns. And I think I really like the color. But this has been a lot of fun, and this is kind of the same concept with the cross stitch for me. I'll sit down and I'll cut a thread that's usually enough to make it across one row of loops, and I'll sit and I'll do that. And it takes me 10-15 minutes, and then I fold it back up and I set it down, and then I can move on with my projects and move on with my day. And if I need to pick it back up, I can, and I can just keep going. As far as quilting this week, I don't know that I got, last week I got a whole bunch of projects done with quilting. This week I have not. I think I finished 2 more blocks that I already had cut out for the family favorites sampler, which has been nice. I've been tinkering with just doing my own kind of really impromptu, it's hard to see, like foundation paper piece blocks. Like I printed off at work just a 6x6 square. So, I mean, it's 6.5. I've got the 1/4-inch seam allowance on there. And then I just drew lines and then figured out how I needed to stitch them. There is one thing that I learned as I was doing this, is that I can't do this weird line right here. Like, I had to go, it was square, and you can see it right here, like that isn't sewn down. This is just a test block. I mean, nothing will probably come of this, but I was just having fun. and I actually really like that. I think I'm gonna not cut it short and try and do something more with this because I think it would look cool to have it flipped on this side and then go from there. I also had a small that's up there. And it didn't work out. I had a small 4x6 piece that I was trying to make look like kind of like shattered with different shades of green and blue. And I couldn't achieve that. If anybody's got a video that shows how to do that, point it my way in the comments. And then I've been eyeballing this pattern ever since I kind of fell in love with English paper piecing. And I know it's crazy, but I got this. It has all of the pieces in it. It doesn't have to be as crazy as what's on here. The guide, the instructions inside actually have solid colors, which it looks really good with solid colors. I've done a bunch of Googling to see, Google image search to see what other people have done with this pattern, and there's so many amazing examples out there to go off of. And I have some really bright, colorful Tula Pink fat quarters already that I think I have an idea where I want to go with this, but I think this is going to be a really long-term project for me that I might pick a fat quarter up or something every other week or so, and then just kind of sew, get a couple of these done, and just get all the pieces done because I really love this. Like, I love the way this looks, and I'm not like they just had this Supernova, I think is what it's called, the newest one, but it's like a full-size quilt, and it's massive. I don't. That's not on my radar right now. This is smaller. I mean, it's still 56x56 when it's all said and done, but I really like this one, so I picked it up. I'm probably going to need to get the templates that go with it so that I could fussy cut out some of those. But I'm super excited about this. I'm probably gonna start this one. There might be some pieces done by next week's update. And then what I've been working on the most the last couple of days is, I don't want to put a screenshot in because it's not my quilt, but I saw somebody else posted. It was one of the winners from the Festival of Quilts that just happened this last weekend in the UK. It was the novice category. I've had this sitting in my shelf for a month now, maybe 2 months. It's been a while. I really wanted to try some Shibori dyeing because I think the patterns that this makes are amazing. And it kind of, some of them kind of try like tie-dye, but you can get real fancy with these. And so I picked this up. I know that it's not traditional, like the traditional uses like the powdered indigo, and then there's a whole process. I'm not there yet. Before anybody comes at me in the comments, I'm not there. This was like $16 on Amazon. It does the same concept. It turned out amazing, and I'm just learning. I'm trying to figure out how the whole thing works. But back to the story, the Festival of Quilts. One of the winners was a Shibori quilt. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, but I'm gonna roll with it. And I've been trying to figure out how I want to implement that style into a quilt. And I've had ideas, and they just like I couldn't wrap my mind around how I wanted it to work. But I saw it was just simple squares with sashing, and it was rows of the same pattern up a row, and it was really cool. And then what gradiated from, look it up, it's cool. But I wanted to start dabbling with this, so I started last night. Started making, these are all fat quarters that I cut out of Riley Blake Confetti Cotton Cloudy, I think is the white. It's what I had. I have a whole bolt of it that I got for a different project, and it's just sitting up there, and I've been wanting to do this. So as you can see, this was the two panels that were exposed. I probably didn't accordion fold this correctly. Either way, I really like the way that it goes from side to side. We'll go through these. Some of these, there's 9 total that I made last night. And I just filmed another video that I'm going to do for the whole project, that I went through the process of how I did it. That I did 5 more. They're hanging to dry outside. You'll see that when I post that video, it's for the whole quilt. I'm going to do like a whole process. But half of the ones that I did last night, they didn't come out dark enough for me. The instructions had you could put it in for 5 to 10 minutes for like a high contrast, more white sticking through, or 15 to 20 minutes to get it darker with more blue. I kind of went like the 10 to 12 minutes. I kind of was right in the middle, see what happens. And a lot of them came out way too white. There wasn't enough blue. So after I did the initial dyeing and I opened them up and I rinsed them, then I put them back in for like a 1 minute over dye back in just to get like a blue tint to it. And I think that's really cool. I'll probably do like there's gonna be blocks and they're all gonna be different. That's the beautiful thing about this style of dyeing is that they're just not no, you're not gonna find two that are the same. This one I can only really use half of this fat quarter because by the time it got to the bottom, it's just white. The top looks amazing. When I just redid this one for the video for the whole quilt, I chopped it in half, so it's an eighth, and I left it in for longer. And the dye is super dark top, and it makes it all the way to the bottom, and it looks amazing. You'll have to wait and see that one when the video comes out. So I'll probably not be able to use all of this one, but half of that turned out really good. This one is my favorite from last night. I think that turned out amazing. And once again, this was one that it came out and it was really white, and I threw it back in for like 1 minute just to over dye it, just to get it a little more color. And I show the techniques for how I did these in the video. This one, I did this with toothpicks, I think. No, this was just, I just accordion folded it and I put rubber bands over it and just banded it together. That one was super simple. This one, I just folded it into triangles and I had an acrylic square that went over it, so it kind of blocked the middle. And it's got some interesting patterns. The next one, this one I was trying to get that kind of traditional, like I guess like chevron style pattern. My hands are all blue from doing this, but so this one I went with toothpicks. I think this one turned out really cool. I think that if this had this been in the dye for a little bit longer, or had I cut this one in half and not done a full fat quarter, that would be really cool. So I mean that maybe I can try that one again in the future. What's this one? This one I just kind of went from the middle and I just like pulled it down so it was long, and then I banded it and twisted it. Once again, this one ended up being like primarily all white with the exception of this section right here. So I put it back in to get the blue background. And then this is the last one from last night. And then it's just got some patterns. It's not fancy. There's not really thorough. I was just experimenting with a couple of different methods that I saw online. I still have quite a bit left. I'm going to keep experimenting with it, but I feel like this and then what I did today is enough to get going. And then we can go from there. But I really like that pattern. And then I mentioned when I was doing the Sashiko, I think that once I get this quilt with all of the Shibori done and quilted and backed and with batting in there, I think I'm going to hand quilt it. I think it's crazy because it can be big, and I've never hand quilted before. But I think I'm going to hand quilt it, and I think I'm going to go those kind of patterns. So trace them all out, and then stitch them with the big thick Sashiko thread, and do that, and do a different pattern for each block. Which sounds like a lot, and now that I'm saying this in my head, it sounds kind of crazy, but at the same time, it sounds like it'd be really cool, and I'm super excited to give it a shot. I think tonight's project is I'm going to keep working on this guy. I got the thread in, so it's ready to finish quilting. And otherwise, that's what I've been up to this week. Last week, the video didn't go out until late because I had some technical difficulties getting it edited and uploaded to YouTube. I'm recording this on my iPad, and it ran out of space, and I wasn't. It was a long story. I made it. I got it over there. Trying something different this week. But either way, I think that's the end. Thank you for sticking around. I'll see you next week.